Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ben JV coming at you guys with our college football playoff predictions for round two. Yes, it's already that time. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. We have some great football line. And we're going to start off with the game that starts it off on New Year's Eve. And yes, we are going to be talking about the Miami Hurricanes and the Ohio State Buckeyes at AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World. JV, I'll throw it off to you real quick. How do you feel about this matchup right here between the Hurricanes and the Buckeyes?
To me, it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I don't think it's going to be actually, this shootout. I think it's going to be very run-based as well. I think, for me, the Buckeyes are going to have to do a better job in the red zone. The last 8 tries in the red zone, they've only scored 2 touchdowns. That to me is where they're going to have to excel a little bit better in order to get the win. I believe the line is 9.5 in this game. I've
Yeah,
seen some lines. Yeah. I've seen some lines at 9, so it's floating between 9 and 9.5. So I'm going to say that actually Miami covers this line and Ohio will win. I say Ohio wins by a touchdown. I could see like a 17-10 score or like a 20-14 score, something in that range. But I do think that Ohio State answers the bell and they'll be a little bit better in the red zone. And I think Miami's going to struggle offensively a little bit. So I'm going Ohio. I'm going to go Ohio State with this one.
Yeah, I actually would agree with you. When looking at this game, I think Ohio State's defense is going to give Carson Beck a lot of problems. Looking at how Carson Beck played against A&M, it just looked like he wasn't comfortable. And if you're not going to be comfortable against A&M, what makes you think you're going to be comfortable with this Ohio State defense that they have, which is an absolute stellar defense?
They led the nation. I believe they led the nation in defense.
Yep, they did.
So yeah, you're right. It's going to be tough. It's going to be
that'll be tough if they can't get the momentum going. I do believe that Carson Beck could throw them out of this game if he turns the ball over. He could also keep them in this game, to be fair. So for me, Ohio State could play conservative, run the ball when Julian Sayin needs to throw it to obviously Jeremiah Smith or the other receiver, to Carnell Tate. Whichever one, he's going to have to make that big throw. I believe he could execute that fairly good. I do believe that the line at -9.5 could be something where Miami does cover. I could as well see that. Like I said, Carson Beck keeps him in the game by some throws. I am just a little bit concerned if they're going to develop their run game throughout it. I don't believe they are. I think Ohio State's going to be really able to control Miami's run game. I think, like I said, their best option of winning this ball game right here would be if Carson Beck at least throws for over 300 yards, 2-3 touchdowns. And the way that he was playing against A&M makes me think that's going to be ridiculously hard to accomplish right here. I do believe Ohio State will move on. And, they are going to come back with a little bit of vengeance in this game after losing to Indiana in the Big Ten Championship. It's something that's in the back of their head, wanting that rematch, wanting to go back-to-back for another natty. And, look, I think Miami is just going to get outmatched right here. Physically, I think that defense is going to torment Carson Beck and the Hurricanes all night long. Any final thoughts on this one, JV?
Listen, I can't agree with you more. They've given up 8 points a game, and I think they averaged roughly 210 yards a game that they gave up, against the, offenses, across the conference. So they're really strong. I think defensively they're just going to be able to nail it down. Like I said before, I don't think Miami's going to be, facing an easy task here. And I think, like I said, maybe they don't cover, but they should win by 6 or 7 points easily.
Facts. All right. Yes, we're both going Ohio State right here, advancing to the semifinals of the college football playoffs. So, yes, Ohio State. And we do believe, both of us, that Miami will cover, matter of fact. So, just putting that out there for all the betting heads. Yes. Would you go under on the points, JV, or would you go over?
I didn't quite see what the under over was, but I do think it's going to be like 31 points.
Okay.
I'd say like a 21. 21-10. Yes,
the point line right now is over 41.5 or under 41.5.
Over. Okay, so I think I had said my high score was 20-14, so I could see something like that.
Under
or 17-10. Yeah, so I'm going under.
I like that. Fair enough. All right, let's move into another game that's going to be happening on New Year's Day at 11 o'clock my time, 12 o'clock JV's time. And that is my Oregon Ducks, go Ducks, baby, against Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Really quickly, obviously, getting into it, And Dante Moore, this is going to be Dante Moore's biggest task of the season facing this Texas Tech defense. I do think right here that the Oregon Ducks are going to edge out this victory. I'll get into the specifics right now in a second, but it would be huge, not only for Dante Moore and the Oregon Ducks, but I feel like after how Oregon lost to Ohio State last year in the Rose Bowl, they kind of have to get this form of redemption going on. And this could be the redemption run. Yes, am I a little bit scared about the amount of points they let up on JMU a few weeks ago? Yes, I absolutely am. I can't deny that.
I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Texas Tech, though, I do feel like we are going to be able to neutralize them with our defense just a tiny bit better. I know it's going to be kind of crazy to say, but I think Oregon are going to have the big explosive plays here, and that's what's going to edge them out this victory. I'll talk about my final score and everything like that after JV gets into it. JV, how do you see the Orange Bowl playing out?
Listen, Texas Tech have a little bit of struggles again in the red zone as well. This is another team that's been kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns in their last few games, and I do see them putting up a good fight, but I do think, like you said, the Ducks defense is good enough to where they get a couple of key stops where they make those key stops and they actually score on them too, putting Texas Tech in a little bit of a predicament. I actually know that Texas Tech, I think, is the plus 2.5. I actually see Oregon covering. I see Oregon covering this game. Yep. Listen, I think Dante Moore's going to, like you said, he doesn't have to make a play with his arm. He can make a play with his feet. So, if he doesn't see an open receiver, he could take that play into his own hands and keep that offense moving. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think Texas Tech is going to have a little bit of trouble, going up against Oregon on their defensive side of things. So let's see how it plays out. But I do see the Ducks covering in this game.
Yes, and the over-under is set at 51.5, which is, big when it comes to the point line. I do think that if you look at Texas Tech, I could see them going under in their total point projection. I could see that going under. Oregon, I think, is going to start off a little bit slow, but I think towards the second half, third quarter, fourth quarter, they're going to fully take over this game. And I expect a big Dante Moore performance as well right here. I think, like you said, not only throwing the football, I think running with the football is going to be a big thing as well. If Oregon could establish that running game early, though, I could see a point where this game might be done by the end of the third quarter, realistically speaking. I feel confident with the Ducks.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like to me it's gonna be like a 31-21 type game. For this score. I think they could win by 2 scores. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ducks won by 10, if they won by, even 12. I think their defense, like I said, if they make a few stops, I think their offense is good enough that they could put up a couple of big plays and big drives and win this game sort of not easily, but smoothly.
Yeah, I actually have the Ducks covering as well. I would go with the -2.5. I have a 27-21 victory for the Ducks right here. I think no matter how you say it, the first half is going to be gritty. I think it's going to be a gritty game. But as long as the Ducks and Dante Moore take care of the football, don't turn it over, the Ducks are going to advance to the semifinals. And I am 100% sure about that. So let's move on to our next game, another very highly anticipated game that I'm super excited for. I think this is the one other than the Ducks game that I'm very excited for, and that is Indiana and Fernando Mendoza going against Ty Simpson and the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Hoosiers against the Crimson Tide right here at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on ESPN. How do you feel about this one, JV? And the Rose Bowl. Couldn't be a better avenue for a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'll tell you this. Alabama can't have the same start that they did against the
Georgia?
Against Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, I believe the score was 17-0. They were out yarded. It was like 120 to 13, I believe it was. They had nothing going. This Indiana team is no joke, and I really do think that they're actually going to win this game. I think the line was 7. I don't think they cover. I think they win by maybe like 4, like a 27-23 type deal, or maybe like a 23-20 type game, sort of along those lines. And I think it's going to come down to quarterback play. I really do. I think it's going to come down to who has the least amount of turnovers, who doesn't give the game away, and what defense makes the big stop at the end of this game, honestly, and puts their offense in a position to win. So I personally think Indiana has been playing so good to the point that I just don't see them losing to Alabama. I think Alabama keeps it close, but I do think that Indiana is just a well-oiled machine right now, and I do see them taking the Rose Bowl.
Fair enough. Looking at this game, obviously, Indiana off a Big Ten championship, Alabama, just squeezing by Oklahoma. I think the way that Alabama should look at this game is they could succeed with those big time throws by Ty Simpson. And I think that's how they need to look at that. But at the same time, I feel like Indiana's defense, the way that they played against Ohio State, if they play like that against Alabama and repeat that, Alabama has no shot in this game, no shot at all. Because Indiana's defense was able to control Ohio State, and I think that says a lot, knowing Ohio State's offense as well. And if they could do that to them, what makes you think they can't do it to Alabama as well? I think Mendoza, if he has a clean game as well, that's going to be super key. I would say yes, Alabama does cover the spread in this game. I think, like I said, Ty Simpson, as long as he's throwing the ball and not turning it over, he's going to make sure that they're in the game till the very end. I do feel more confident with Mendoza's composure. And like I said, Indiana's defense is something that, in my opinion, is what is going to be the kind of underlying factor right here. I actually see a little bold prediction. I kind of see like maybe a key turnover happening in the later points of this game that causes the other one or the other to lose. At this point, I think it would be Alabama to lose. So yes, I'm going with Indiana as well. I think the total line, if I'm looking at it right now, is 47.5 for this game. So I actually wouldn't really touch the over on that.
Yeah, me neither. I can actually, there's a lot of actual bettors that I follow and get information from, and they actually see Indiana covering the seven and a half spread. Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys saying that, they pick their scores in 30-17, 28-17. I saw 31-20. So it looks like they think they're going to win by 10 or 11 points. A lot of the people that I follow, and with them picking scores. So that's something to look at too. But I think in a game like this, the scoring is always at a minimum at first because you kind of shake off the cobwebs a little bit. So maybe the first couple of drives you don't see anything materializing, but it'll pick up as the game goes on. So that's why I think it's probably safer to bet the under maybe at first. But
yeah,
I do think that Alabama covers the game.
I agree. I think Kellen DeBoer, this is the biggest game of him coaching Alabama, obviously. This kind of gives like Nick Saban type of Alabama game feeling right here. It's a big one, obviously. It's the Rose Bowl. You're going against what's probably the number one overall pick and the number one team in the nation in Indiana. So there's a lot of big implications here. I could only imagine if Alabama wins this game, how much momentum that would lead them on, like from here on out, beating the number one team.
Oh, absolutely. Forget it. Yeah.
I think as long as Mendoza, like I said, keeps to what he's been this whole season, just compose, reading the defense ahead of time, everything good, I see Indiana winning this game and moving on to the semifinal. All right, let's move on to the last game on New Year's Day. And yes, it's the Sugar Bowl between Ole Miss and Georgia. This will be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on ESPN as well. JB, what are your thoughts on the Sugar Bowl between Ole Miss and Georgia?
I don't think Ole Miss stands a chance, honestly. I think Georgia's going to win this game. I think is Kawan Lacey scheduled to come back for the Rebels? I'm not too sure. I think he might have been. I think he hurt his shoulder. I believe it was the injury report had said he was down with a shoulder injury. So if he's not there, I think they're going to be a little stunted offensively in their game plan. Mixing it up, obviously. I think Georgia wins this game at least by 10 points, maybe even 13. I would say 31-21 or maybe 34-21, something along those lines. I don't see Georgia struggling at all in the Sugar Bowl, and I think they take this easily.
Yeah, I think for Ole Miss, for them to win this game, they're going to have to start and run and do everything perfect early because as soon as they go down 7-0, 14-0, there's no going back. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. I think Georgia's going to take over this game quite early. And once they do, they're not going to let the gas off the brake. I'm very confident that Georgia's going to end up winning right here in the Sugar Bowl and advancing to the semifinal. I can't give myself a scenario where Ole Miss could pull this off truly, and it's not me being a hater
Yeah.
or nothing like that.
No,
It's
me
just,
neither.
yeah, it's just
I
not
get it.
realistic to me. Like I don't see it. I think the way that Georgia's been playing the past few weeks has been stellar, and you got to admit, if this team is carrying on that type of momentum to a game like this, where Ole Miss already has its issues, they're not. Georgia's not losing. The Bulldogs are not losing this game. I don't see it.
Right, and then if Ole Miss's starting running back is out, and Lacey doesn't, he's not 100%. Now he's got a shoulder problem. What does that mean? Is
Yeah.
that does that compromise his play? And like I said, does that go against really the play calling? Does the play calling have to change now because they have to mix it up and they have to rely more on quarterback play? So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be too tough for them anyway. And I just think, like I said, I think Georgia wins this game easily by 10 or 13 points.
Yeah, so the line right now is at -6.5, +6.5.
Yeah, I
For
think
Ole
they
Miss.
cover that easily. They
I
cover
think
that
Georgia,
easily.
if you wanted to even throw an alternate, maybe 8.5 or 9.5, by all means do it. I think Georgia is going to take care of this game. I just am very confident. If there's one of these 4 games that I'm super confident in, I think it's this one, Georgia taking care of business. I was kind of hoping that this wasn't the late night game that either Indiana or Alabama or even
Yeah.
Oregon, Texas Tech was, but it's cool. Actually, real quick, where is this game getting played? Oh, it doesn't say. I actually wanted the location. I'm gonna look it up afterwards, but I think Georgia, I could bet my bottom dollar that they cover the spread in this game, -6.5. I'm confident in it.
With ease. Like I said, I think they could win this by 2 touchdowns. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and which game are you most excited for out of all these 4 games?
Honestly, I'm really excited about Indiana and Alabama. I don't want to sound like I'm a little biased, but as a Jet fan, possibly Mendoza being a Jet if they could somehow draft him in the upcoming draft. So and I want to see how far this kid could go. To be honest with you,
Right.
he's had a magical run and a great season, and this kid does look like he's NFL ready. So I do want to see him at the big, one of the biggest stages of his college football career now. I want to see how he handles that because obviously New York is a tough place to play with, big market and big expectations from the fan base every time we get a player that could change the organization. So I do want to see how he does in this game. So that's why I'm more a little bit interested in this game, maybe rather than others.
Yeah, I actually would say that I'm very obviously it's my team, but I'm interested in the Ducks Texas Tech because I think this could be a battle like I don't know. It's going to be which team is more gritty. And I like Texas Tech. I think the season they had is very impressive. But seeing Dante Moore and what could possibly be like his final few games as an Oregon Duck, because I'm pretty sure he's going to declare for the draft. So, like, that's another one I bet. Like, you're probably going to have your eyes on Dante Moore, seeing how this guy plays.
Yeah, I was about to say, as a Jet fan, I should probably have my eyes on this game too, actually, because if they don't get Mendoza, then they may have to shift to Plan B and maybe draft more. Yeah, because they're actually lined up to actually draft him because it looks like the way the Jets
the
are
Raiders.
right now at number 3. The Jets are at number 3 behind the Giants. It looks like the Giants was going to draft a linebacker and from Ohio State, I believe, and the Jets would actually be able to draft more. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
As always, let us know what you guys think in the comments section and continue to show amazing support, ending off this year with the bang, starting off 2026 with the bang. JB, any final words you want to wrap up with?
I just want to say always a pleasure doing this, and we love the support. And please follow us, JBM Sports Media. You can find us on Instagram, obviously on YouTube, where we release these videos, and TikTok as well, all the same handle. And we appreciate the love and the support. And we wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. So
absolutely
appreciate it very much.
Like I said, let us know your predictions in the comments below. Subscribe, like. We'll catch you guys on the next one.